Why don't we tell them about that house in Marietta that has that awesome name?
Which one's that?
Well, I'll tell you when I tell them.
Okay.
All right. Well, hello there, parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I'm your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
In this video, we're going to tell you about the castle. Do you remember the castle?
The castle?
You don't remember the castle?
The castle.
All right, well, she's going to have her memory refreshed while we tell you about it. But before we get into that, if you're into paranormal, history, forensic, and travel type videos,
don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell so you'll hear from us next time we post a new video.
You really don't remember the castle.
It took me forever to remember the castle.
All right, well, we'll tell them why here in a little bit.
Okay, before we get into that though, should we give them the history?
Well, we got to tell them the Panic D number.
Oh, okay.
We are talking about Panic D number 2105, the Castle, Marietta, Ohio. This is at 418 4th Street, and
it is open to the public.
Okay. Now,
when you say 4th Street,
yeah,
it sounds like force, and it throws me.
Are you making fun of my speech impediments?
Never.
That's why she does the history.
So it's 418 4th Street.
4th Street.
And it is open to the public.
Fourth. All right. Let's go over the history. Maybe you'll remember this place.
Yes, let's do that.
All right. So go ahead and watch this. We'll be right back.
The castle was the home of some of Marietta's most prominent and influential citizens. The property was leased as early as 1808 by a potter and his family, making it one of the earliest pottery manufacturing sites in the entire Northwest Territory. The Gothic Revival House was built in 1855 for $10,000, equivalent to roughly $275,000 today, and a carriage house was completed just 3 years later. The castle was the site of grand business, community, and family functions throughout its history. Only 5 families have lived in the property between 1808 and 1974. These residents included lawyers, bankers, and oil speculators, and the president pro tem of the Ohio Senate. Upon the death of its last resident, Jessie Davis Lindsay, the property was purchased at auction by Bertolin and Stuart Bosley in 1974. The brother and sister spent the next 17 years renovating and restoring the house, but never resided at the castle. Upon their deaths, the entire property was then donated to the Besley Mills Corporation, who completed the final repairs. The castle opened for tours as a historical house museum in 1994. At that time, the castle was initially furnished with antiques from the Bosleys, as well as donations of historical furniture from other Marietta families. Since that opening, a number of items relating to the various owners of the castle have been donated to the museum and now are on display. Besides museum tours, the mission of providing educational and cultural offerings includes school and scout programs, history and archaeology summer camps, cemetery and historically themed programs, cultural bus trips, and so many more. Today, they honor the legacy of the castle families and other historic buildings while providing individuals and families with an opportunity to learn about the town's connection to significant local, state, and national events.
All right, there you go. Do you remember now?
A little bit, yes.
Why were you having problems remembering?
I think maybe possibly because I wasn't allowed to take any pictures.
Yes!
I just don't really remember it. I was
The only drawback about this place,
viewfinder.
it's a very cool place to go to. Don't get me wrong, I'm not steering you away from it, but you're not allowed to take photography and video inside. It's kind of like the Mutter Museum. That was on your bucket list. We get there, we go, and you're like, sorry, nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah,
nope.
I really don't like it when they do that.
No, I don't either. You pay admission, you want to go in there, you want to remember the experience.
Yeah.
And other people post pictures and stuff. We just don't because they said no. Oh well. It is what it is. But there is some paranormal stuff at this location, which is why we went there in the first place.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So are we going to talk about that
We're going to talk about the paranormal.
Okay.
All right. We're going to talk about the paranormal. We're not getting that guy involved because it's just a short little story and some stuff.
And it's not super creepy.
And we don't have any pictures and stuff inside that even cover it. But
That's
anyway,
true.
so to make a video, thank you, the castle. But anyways, leave a comment if you're mad because Boris doesn't do the video, and we'll send him to the castle.
We hold no grudges against the castle at all.
No. So you talked about in the history how the house has passed on from different family to,
Yes, it's just a handful of families who've actually lived in the house or even owned the house for that matter.
And it was built around early 1800s. Mm-hmm. So it's been around for a long time. It's been renovated, fixed up, all that stuff
It
like that.
has.
The paranormal story relates to the last resident of the castle.
Yeah, not the last owner.
Right.
But the last person who actually lived in the house, because the house was actually purchased after this by
When she passed
a brother and
away,
a sister, actually.
They bought it at an auction. They renovated, but never lived there. I don't know if they intended to live there or if they were turning it into. I don't know. But now it's owned by the city of Marietta.
Yeah.
But okay, so who lived there? What was her name?
So it was Jessie Davis Lindsay, who was the granddaughter of one of the previous owners, Mr. Nye. She was not.
He was
she
a
wasn't
newspaper
married.
publisher.
She wasn't married, but she took over the
Right.
property
She
after
moved
his
in
death.
when she was 55.
Yeah.
She moved in there, and she lived till 5 days before her 100th birthday.
Yes.
She lived in that.
Yes.
But over the years, as she lived there, she became more and more of a recluse. And people in town and kids and stories and folklore said she was a witch and all this stuff like that.
Yeah, you know, the creepy lady who doesn't come out of her house. That old lady down the street, yeah.
Yeah, she lives up in that castle up on the hill, that kind of stuff. So, however, there have been reports of an apparition inside the house of a woman dressed in period clothing. Mm-hmm. Right?
And, she lived there for quite a while, like 45 years. She's going to definitely have obviously liked it, and she didn't leave much, so maybe she still hasn't.
It is said that her ghost still walks the floors of the building. People who have been there in the home have seen a woman in period clothing walking around the building. They've also seen her peering out through the windows. And it says she appears and disappears before your very eyes. There's some other reports in the house, too. Of course, temperature drops, doors closing and locking.
Yeah.
That would be kind of scary. The sounds of disembodied voices, all kinds of stuff. However, we don't have any of that stuff that we can prove or disprove because we weren't allowed recording devices. We did get some stuff outside, though. They allow you to take pictures
Yes,
outside.
they do allow you to take photographs outside. But no, we didn't get a picture of her peering out the window either.
No. We tried. But
We did. We put up a good effort.
So do you remember the place now?
I do remember the place now.
Okay.
But it was really rough for me to remember this one.
Yeah. But do you remember the tour? I know it's hard to remember because when we go to these places, you take so many pictures, sometimes hundreds of pictures. You take pictures of placards and different things like that.
Yeah.
And it's really great for us because then we can remember by looking at, I remember when we were there. And then that's why we started doing the videos and stuff because we could go back and watch those. And then we're sharing them with you guys. That's the whole point of this.
And when we're
It's
old
like a
and
video.
feeble, we can
What do you
watch
mean
it,
old and feeble? It's like now.
and we can remember the places we've been.
Yeah. I want to remember the stories and stuff. And
Yeah.
It's like, that's why we're doing this. So, but I think that wraps this one up. That was our personal experiences, the paranormal, the history, and Panic D, all that stuff like that. Anything else you would like to add to this video?
Just wish we were allowed to take pictures.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
All right, folks, till next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.